Hello and welcome to She Did That, the podcast that celebrates women shaping the promotional products industry, one bold idea, one fearless leap, and one inspiring story at a time.
I'm Emily Codner here with my fabulous co-host Amelia Model. Every episode we will be chatting with trailblazers, innovators, and everyday boss babes who are making big waves in our space. One product, one pitch, one bold move at a time.
And today's guest is our honor and our friend, Cheron Coleman, Vice President of Global Sourcing and Sustainability at SNS Activewear. She's got a story worth hearing, a journey worth celebrating, and you guessed it, she did that.
Yay! Welcome, Dusty. Thank you for
Thank you.
being here
Thank
today.
you. Thank you both for having me today. This is such an honor and a privilege. And I always love seeing the two of you. And I'm so happy, so full to have you both in the same room at the same time.
Well, we
Yay.
are so happy that we finally get the chance to chat with you.
Yeah.
While Amelia and I adore you, why don't you introduce yourself to our audience and tell us how you got into the promotional products industry?
Sure. And this is always the hardest question for me. So thanks for asking the hardest question first. So
Obviously.
I am Cheron Coleman. I was born and raised and never left this fanatical state of, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, home of the birds, Philly cheesesteaks, and, soft pretzels. So in my role as global sourcing and sustainability at SNS, I lead an amazing global team where we embrace sourcing and sustainability for our SNS own brands, where we basically turn compliance and supply chain operations into meaningful and strategic advantages for the business. And I would say beyond the title and my 8:30 to 5 Monday to Friday job, I am really deeply passionate about service and community. That is something that really drives how I show up on a daily basis. So I've been fortunate enough to be in this wonderful promotional products industry for more than 25 years. Starting back in the days of Alpha Shirt Company, definitely a throwback back, but definitely where I got the foundation for not only my career, but being a part of this industry.
I have to ask you, did you fall, stumble, or were you pulled into this industry? Because everybody has a weird story about how they actually found this industry. So how did you find it?
So I had no idea this industry even existed. So at my former company, prior to Alpha Shirt Company, the vice president of HR came to then Alpha Shirt Company, and Alpha Shirt Company they decided that they were going to start their own private brand, Devon and Jones, right?
Mhm.
So they brought me on board to manage that since I had like a logistics background. I also had like product background. So it was like a one woman show. Just started there. And again, I was in the industry, well, not in the industry. Alpha Shirt Company is here in you know, Philadelphia, but I had no idea that Alpha Shirt Company, was a part of the promotional products industry, even existed. I mean, I went from, buying 60 pieces to buying like thousands of dozens of products. So definitely it was a stumble. It was what is this industry? But totally different animal than your typical wholesale retail business.
Love that. Always like to hear because it's always a good story how people got into it or how they fell into it not having a clue what it was and then got
Yeah,
into it. And then
no idea.
25
Totally different.
later, 25 years later, look at you go.
Yep. And you can
I
never
know.
look at a band t-shirt or a sports t-shirt the same way again.
Okay, so let's get started with hopefully softer questions for you. We don't want to make this too hard on you. So you've held roles at Alpha Broder and now you're at SNS Activewear. You've been
Yes.
moving through sourcing, compliance, logistics, sustainability, the dirt to shirt. I love hearing you talk about that. What was the turning point in your career when you realized you were building something bigger than just a job?
So I'll have to go back prior to, me starting at Alpha Share Company. So when I was just a young un in this industry, or, in the apparel industry. So I had spent like 7 years doing logistics, right? And back then, logistics was not as complex as it is today. And, I felt like I mastered, what I could do in the logistics kind of space. So I just wanted to kind of like shake things up. So I actually reached out to someone in the same company to go into production. Like I had no idea how to make a garment. I mean, I could barely thread a needle, right? So beyond knowing how to thread a needle and that basic sewing skills you get when you're in home ec, right? So, I'm just thankful that people took a chance on me and, taught me the whole garment manufacturing process. And I think that once I started to really travel internationally and, see the different cultures and actually understand how garments are made, that was like the turning point. That's when I felt like it was no longer a job. I was like building what I was really passionate about. And so that's how I kind of like stuck in the sourcing arena, and then it just evolved into like sustainability.
Love that so much. And I'm so happy Amelia brought in the dirt to shirt reference just because I always think of you every time I see your name pop up, or I think about WLC every time I hear that. You have said that procurement isn't just a function, it's a force for change. And that's a bold philosophy in an industry that can sometimes see sourcing as purely transactional. How do you get people, suppliers, partners, internal teams to actually believe that alongside you?
Yeah, that's so beyond me. I'm not a bold person, but I believe that is a bold statement, and I'm proud of myself. But the message there is really simple, and I think it's like a catalyst for positive change, right? So it's where basically empathy comes to life, and every decision creates like meaningful impact for people, the partners that we work with, the workers that make our clothes, and the broader community in general. So every supplier that my team and I work with we consider them partners. They're like an extension of like our team. So, straight up, like when we start to onboard a new supplier, I'm very transparent and I will tell them up front that we only want to work with people that we like, right? And, I'm not interested in working with, just order takers. We're relationship builders, right? We want partners, and that's all we want to work with. Folks that are transparent and those that I can trust. I like to sleep at night, so I don't want to have to lay awake at night thinking about what's happening on the other side of the world. So I think that is just so important with having to deal with these international companies. And I would say that how I get people to kind of like get on board with this philosophy is very simple, like respect, right? Like I respect them, they respect me and my team. And honestly, like what as Dr. Maya Angelou, my pink and green sister, said, people will not remember what you said or did. They're always going to remember how you made them feel. So kindness and a smile go a long way.
So very true. So very true.
Love that. And when you said that, I have a frame in my wall with a Maya Angelou quote,
Yeah,
Art and Creativity. So I was like,
so powerful.
okay, well, switching gears just a little bit, we're going to get into your sorority life. So you've been a Silver Life member of Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority, and it took everything I had not to do that in a sorority girl voice, for over 35 years now. And you've spent 5 years as the co-chair, I should say, of the Ivy Academy mentoring program. guiding high school girls through a 10-month journey. So can you tell us about a moment that really stuck with you?
Sure. I would say it's always nice when we introduce these young women into our program, um, to see how they evolve over the 4 years that they're with us, right? So a lot of them come in. Again, we refer to them as leaders because they are our future, and they don't know anyone, but then they develop these friendships because we have girls that are all over, like the Philadelphia, New Jersey and Delaware area, that come to the program, right? So most of them come solo, don't come with friends or cousins and whatnot. um, just to see them engage in all of the different programs that we you know have with them. It's just amazing, just to see. They make me so proud, right? Every program that we have, it's always one of them or all of them that do things that are outside of what they normally do when we just have these sessions, so to say. But I would say a couple things that stick out to me. It's always nice to see the girls that come through our program, and then they become members of our sorority. So that is like always like amazing. And then we have this program where we do like a intergenerational tea, where we have women that have been in our sorority more than 65 years, or no, 50
Wow.
years, 50 to 65 years. They come in, and then we have our Ivy Academies kind of host them. So they're all sitting at the tables and having these conversations. And it's so nice to hear like the older women, or the elder women, seasoned women,
Yeah.
just talk about how much they have learned from these young, future leaders, because it's such a difference. But, the girls are so respectful, and, they're taking their coats, and they're giving them the tea sandwiches and whatnot. So it's nice to see them interact with someone that they're really like their grandparents. So we always enjoy that program, and it's something that our seasoned sisters like on a daily or on an annual basis. So those are two things that stick out to me.
What is the age range for the girls? Are they coming in college, or are they coming in like in high school?
During high school, so we have our Ivy Academy program runs for high school girls from grades 9 to 12. And then we have a younger program called the Mind Mentoring, that is middle school. So we typically get like the middle school, once they graduate from middle school, we'll get those. So it's nice. Some girls are in the program for 8 years, right?
That's
So
awesome.
Wow, what
yeah.
an incredible resource. And
Yeah.
you should be so proud about everything that you've put into that and accomplished. But speaking of being proud, multiple people, including myself, who have written about you, use the same phrase that you always make sure the spotlight shines on others before yourself. Don't deny it, because it's true. Where does that instinct come from? And do you think that quality, putting other people first, has actually made you a more powerful leader, or has it cost you something?
So I think it all boils down to how I was raised. So thank you, mom and dad, for raising me to be a good human being. And also just how I grew up in my career, in my, just in working, and just really understanding that success is not a solo event, right? It really takes a team to to be successful. And I always like to, I personally like to uplift people, because I feel more rewarded when I feel like I'm helping someone. Maybe it's not just growing their career, or it could be something else, right? So that's where I never like to shine. I don't like the spotlight on me at all, ever, and I don't think I ever will. But for sure, I think that, it has cost me some lack of recognition. I think anyone at some point feels that way, but I don't think it's come at a cost. But I just think that, I'm okay with it. And as long as I'm okay with, not getting the recognition, that's all that really matters. Like I'm comfortable with what I do. I know what I do, right? So I don't need anyone to tell me that I'm doing a great job, because as long as I feel that way, that's all that really matters.
I
And
love
you're
that.
probably filling your own cup. So while somebody else might not be patting you on the back,
Right.
internally, what makes us all feel good, I feel
Yeah.
like you get that. And then your ray of light just shines. You don't need us to shine a spotlight. You just shine already, girl.
That's right. Yeah, and I mean, again, I'm so passionate about like service, that I feel like I always have to serve, whether it's here at work or it's in the community with my sorority. So that's what fills me back up every time. You know, something we give back, I give back. That's where I'm just like, okay, I'm good. My cup is full until it gets depleted, then I fill it back up with some other type of like community service.
Which leads us to your next question. So while you are filleth over, you've championed diversity, inclusion, sustainability, women's leadership, your academy, sometimes all at once, which I don't know about you, but there's only 24 hours in my day, and you said you like to sleep, so I don't know how you're working the clock. But when the climb feels hard, and when you're pouring into everybody else's cup and yours starts to run down a little bit, what helps fill you back up?
Yeah. So that's a great question, because, I think when you lead in spaces like diversity, equity, inclusion, and sustainability, you're constantly pouring into someone else's cup, right? So, but for me, what really fills my cup back up is connection, right? Like real, genuine connections, right? I mean, I have a bestie here on the call that we have something stamped on our bodies for life. So to me, that's genuine, right? And we've only known each other for maybe 4 or 5 years. It seems like a lifetime. So
We might have to sidebar this. I need to know information, but we won't do that. We'll do this after the recording. I need to know more.
when we're at WLC, we kind of do some things, right? And shh. But yeah, I would say definitely connect. I love people, right? I find the good in everyone, even when there's a lot of bad. But you know, yeah, I just those real connections, whether or not it's someone at work or it's in the community, it's my team. Um, it's just when someone grows and finds their voice, it just feels like a way that just makes me, I don't know, it fills my heart,
It's like a
fills my
proud
soul.
mom moment when you see
Yeah.
it.
Yeah,
You have to be with
exactly.
these girls and stuff too. When you see them grow and flourish, you get
Yeah,
that like proud mama moment where it just fills you up.
Yes.
exactly. It's like I say to our leaders all the time, like, you guys like amaze me, right? Like, you have expectations, but then when they do something like out of what you think that they're going to do, it's just like, oh my god, like my heart stops, right? Because you guys are just so amazing, and I just can't wait, with our leaders to see what they become in life, right? So
Mhm. And I will say, and I'm sure Amelia will agree with me, that we are all better for knowing you. You definitely bring that ray of light into our lives. You shine, and you are just the most positive person, one of the most positive people I've ever known in my life. So thank you for being you.
thank you.
And thank you for everyone else for joining us today on She Did That. We look forward to seeing you next time. But for now, take it in, be inspired, then go do that. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.